All right, so this next one is a literature review that highlights the relationship between team conflict, conflict management, and team performance. And this is very much kind of an overview that looked at a number of findings about these specific topics. The authors analyzed 30 past studies and other references to create this, and it was broken into 3 main sections about the relationship between conflict and team performance, between conflict management and team performance, and then extended research on conflict formation and transformation. And the results here were that some studies note this negative correlation between group performance and both relationship conflict and process conflict. And then many studies have shown that task conflict can be beneficial to team performance. And they note that, that these types of conflict are very common in the literature, the relationship conflict, process conflict, task conflict. And then kind of an example of this is one study positively correlated task conflict to team creativity. Employees' learning orientation and goal consistency were kind of moderators in this relationship. Another study noted that utilizing agreeable conflict management amidst team task conflict led to greater group satisfaction. Conflict management has additionally been studied and shown to positively impact team cohesion. Other studies note that conflict management style can make a difference in resolving relationship conflict, with some suggesting that handling task conflict competitively can deepen relationship conflict. And then on the other hand, handling task conflict collaboratively can alleviate relationship conflicts. And then as part of the extended research on conflict formation, the authors pointed out the significant positive relationship between task interdependence and both team cooperation and team performance. So task interdependence was shown to have this negative impact on relationship conflict. And studies have shown additionally that team cooperation specifically positively impacts team performance. And what we can learn here is the importance of engaging in constructive and collaborative conflict management can be very helpful for effectively resolving task and relationship conflict. Knowing how to constructively manage conflict among workplace teams is therefore very important because it has the potential of positively impacting team performance. Very straightforward, very literature review, so widely.
You know, it makes me think of sort of how, obviously not all, I'm generalizing here, but a lot of companies and organizations out there, when there's task conflict, it's almost like less likely to, how do I say this? It's just like, oh, kind of that it is what it is approach of like, yeah, it's like, it's almost like, okay, it's not looked at as so severe to where they're seeking, outside facilitators or anything like that. But when it gets to more of a relationship conflict that they can identify in some way, but of course there's always like task and process things, involved at the same time. But I just feel like most people are less, like leaders and whatnot, are less likely to respond constructively when it's merely a task conflict versus when it's a interpersonal or relationship conflict. But as this kind of states, they go hand in hand, and the task conflict almost, it negatively is associated, right? So it will like lead to sort of exacerbating relationship conflict.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I feel like it's like if you, I don't know, if you already have some sort of relationship conflict, or maybe just you don't get along with a coworker, if you have to work with each other on some sort of task or project, if you have any conflict about that, that's not going to help the relationship element of that interpersonal dispute. So yeah, they definitely mesh into each other a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially in taking the initial like intake calls and things. They're reaching out to us because there is this conflict between coworkers, but in that conversation, what's bringing the conflict? And a lot of times it is these situations like the tasks, who's supposed to do what, or I don't like how this person's handling this, I wish they'd handle it this way. And it's just that, a bigger and bigger situation. So I totally agree with both of you on that.
Yeah, it builds it up, which maybe another takeaway from this could be, leaders out there, respond sooner to the task conflict so that it doesn't sort of grow into something more severe, which is a relationship conflict. I think that's harder to transform.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.